I'm just sitting here jamming out to that song. I love it. Guys, welcome back to another Fantasy Friday, as I like to call it, with us, your hosts, Ellie and Olivia. And yeah, we obviously have to talk about the elephant in the room, the UCL draw. Liv, how are you feeling about it? How excited are you?
I'm trying not to get too excited because, like I literally tweeted about 10 minutes ago, just being like, I think, you take for granted that, like, Porto beat Juventus, a good Juventus side, knocked them out over 2 legs. And it's not going to be easy because no tie in the Champions League is easy. But having said that, when people were asking me who I wanted, it was either Porto or Real Madrid. And the fact that if we get through Porto, we might get Real Madrid in the semi-finals, although it'd break my heart not being able to go. I just think, and to avoid Bayern Munich, Man City, and PSG until potentially the final, I think that's massive. But yeah, I'm very, very excited. How are you feeling?
I honestly thought we were going to draw PSG or Bayern Munich because it's Chelsea, and I was like, Man City are definitely going to get like the easiest fixture because they
usually do, don't they? Yeah.
And we were talking about this before we started, that when they called Porto, I was like, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? And we saw like the little C in the I don't want to call it like a wrapper, but it's like
just
in
like the
little paper. And I was like, is this really Chelsea? Is it? I think it's the best route to the final that we could have, honestly. Like you said, Porto aren't going to be an easy side. No side is going to be easy to beat at this point. But like you said, how we avoid the real heavyweights like Bayern Munich, like City, I think it's the best roads that we could really have. And I'm hoping that Madrid knock Liverpool out. That would just be fantastic. And then we face them.
I just with Real Madrid and Liverpool, I think that's a really tough draw because I think. Do you know what? How I'd love Hazard to be back and to just be playing against Liverpool, but both sides aren't what they were. We're talking about two of the literally powerhouses in the Champions League in Europe, and they're neither of them are what they are. And I can't call that one. I don't know who's going to go through, but if we got through, a Chelsea Liverpool or a Chelsea Real Madrid semi-final would be pretty special. So,
oh my gosh. So I saw my friend on Twitter. He already bought tickets to the final, like to Istanbul. I was like, "You're nuts!" Like
we were saying this in a group chat. We were like, "Should we all just fly to Istanbul anyway if we get there?" And we're like, if we get it, like genuinely, depending on when it is because of the Euros and stuff. If Chelsea get to the final and we can fly, like there's a possibility that I will be on a plane to Istanbul just to be in and around the stadium. Like I missed it with Munich. I think I was a little bit young when we won it in Munich. If we won it now, or like at least got to a final, I would definitely try my hardest to just be in the place, whether I'd be in the stadium or not. So
no, me too. And I was saying, like, if there's a semi-final in Madrid, like you just try to get on over here and we watch it.
Oh God, I'm trying not to get excited. We need to
we need to calm ourselves down. But it's really exciting because I honestly, to be completely honest with you, I didn't expect Chelsea to be Atletico. Like that really surprised me, especially that I don't want to say we really dominated them, but I do feel that we played much better than them.
I literally, when I first got the draw, I didn't obviously want, all the big ones that you can get. Because I know obviously a couple of big teams finished second in their group. So it was just like, oh, who do you get? But when I saw that draw, I was like, oh God, just because you know how City plays, you know how they're going to set up. They're such a difficult team to beat. And like you said, to do it in the manner that we did it was so impressive. Over the 2 legs, they didn't really lay a finger on us. And we're talking about, a really, really good sign on Simeone, top of La Liga. And we just made it easy work. So
it was really cool as well. That first goal, when we scored that first goal, that was like the counter attack, and it was just like Havertz times Timo times. I'm so happy for all of them because they've all been people that have been like questioned recently, and I loved how Ziyech was like, like, don't doubt me. I'm gonna come to it.
Just stood there with his arms out, like
epic, so epic. I really, really loved it.
Love it.
So, like, I could talk about Chelsea Champions League all day. I do have another stream with Eunice later, so we're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty, as he says. But we are here to talk about FPL. It's a weird game week. It's game week 29. But how did my game week 28 was literally terrible. I just want to forget about it. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. How was yours?
I think majority of people had a bad game week. I don't know that many people that I think I got just over 40 points. I think it was a pretty average game week for most people involved. When you think of like captain picks, most of them blanked. Me not captaining Dominic Calvert-Lewin when I said to everyone I was going to captain him and I forgot and ended up having Gundogan who didn't play, then Son who came off after like 50 minutes. So it was an absolute shambles. But even now Calvert-Lewin only got 6 points, but like 6 points, an extra 6 points would go a long way in like leagues and stuff. But they're so tight at the minute. But yeah, I think everyone had a pretty poor game week. But this game week, don't even get me started. The amount of times I've gone to make transfers and then bottled it and just thought I'll do it later.
For me, it was the amount of times I've said that I was going to transfer out Salah and I didn't. Guess what? I did it as soon as that Liverpool match was over. I was like, I'm not even waiting to see if somebody gets injured. I'm just going to do it while I still have the guts right now. Because I was like, and Liverpool really haven't been playing that well. It's like, this guy's too much money. I'm sorry, it's too much. So I've transferred him out officially.
I was like, my plan for this game week was always to transfer out Salah. But now, obviously, with Son injured and with, it could be Jose mind games, but I'm just not sure I believe it. I wanted to get Harry Kane in anyway. And obviously, Son blanks in game week 33 as well. So I just think it makes more sense at this time to take out someone like Son for Kane. I'm eyeing up that Arsenal-Liverpool fixture in game week 30. I think it's game week 30. The next game week, I'm pretty sure they play each other. It's definitely one after that, maybe. But I don't know why, because Salah's been obviously blanking for however many weeks. But with that Son not playing in 29, that means Kane's not as well. And I've got Kane, so I'm going to get Kane. So I think I'm going to keep Salah. But genuinely, I'm also thinking maybe next week or week after to swap him for Jota.
I brought in Jota.
So yeah, that's a really good shout. But like, obviously for this game week, I'm not going to do it for this game week because there's no point. But I might save it next game week and bring in, depending on the fixtures, I might be looking to bring in Luke Shaw and getting Jota in. I think they're my two priorities for the next few game weeks. But yeah, for this game week and for maybe the next one, I'm going to stick with Salah. Obviously put him on my bench this game week, but don't ask me why. I'm a madman.
I know. My problem was that I wanted to get Cresswell in, and I was going to transfer out City defenders, but then Cancelo got 12 points, and I was going to transfer him out, and then it really made me doubt it. So then I didn't transfer Cancelo out, and I transferred out Salah so that I could afford to bring Cresswell in because he's playing in this game week, and he's also the highest scoring defender. So I just wanted him in my team in general, and so then I ended up doing like a -4 because I needed to fill Salah, but I also want to take Cresswell, so I did Salah out for Jota and just like a random defender out for Cresswell. And even though Jota is not playing, I really didn't fancy like any of the other players that are playing in this game week, so I didn't want to like transfer anybody like that I didn't want future. You know what I mean?
I think Jota's a really good like they look better. They look more efficient with Jota as their main striker. Obviously, he played well with Salah against Leipzig. Then he scored the goal against Wolves. And yeah, I just can't see it. The way Liverpool are playing, I can't see him being dropped. So I think I'm going to do that move. But the same with you. I was so tempted to transfer out Stones, one of Stones or Cancelo, because obviously they blank this game week. They blank again in 33 because of the League Cup final. And when they concede, it's a double whammy. But Diaz is definitely. The thing with that is that Cancelo and Stones definitely get amongst the attacking returns as well as keeping clean sheets, and that's what's frustrating. But they're also two of the defenders that are more likely to be rotated. Like Stones is blanked in like it's been rotated in like 4 of the last 7 or 3 of the last 7 or something. And it's like at this stage of the season, you need players that are guaranteed to start. So I'm keeping Diaz hands down. Whether I keep John Stones and play him, but then he's not a player that's going to come on, is he? Cancelo might be a player that comes on, whereas John Stones, if he doesn't play, that's it. Like he's going to be on your bench. So I have to either make sure that I've got a good enough sub, so when he does come on, like so when John Stones doesn't play, I've got a good enough replacement. But after he got scored and got a clean sheet, I'm just like, well, how can I justify taking out John Stones? Like I can't. I can't.
Exactly. That's my problem as well. I'm like, even with this Pep roulette, like maybe if they're getting such high returns, like on the weeks that they don't, imagine if they get like Cancelo got 12 points, but then when we keep blanks, it's still like average 6
it's almost
points.
Worth it. Rather than someone rubbish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the only problem is if City concedes, then I'm absolutely screwed because I have
it's a double whammy, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm actually like not even that happy with the attackers. Like if you look at this game week, like all of the attackers basically blanked. I'm thinking about maybe for the first time playing 4 defenders. I don't know, but I'm
for this game week.
Not for this game week, but going forward, I'm thinking Cancelo, Diaz, Cresswell, and then Rudiger, Azpilicueta, because Chelsea have really favorable fixtures and they're keeping a lot of clean sheets.
Yeah, this is the thing. I should probably be looking to get in a Chelsea defender. The thing is with Luke Shaw and Man United is that even when Man United keep a clean sheet, he tends to get all 3 bonus points. But listen, Rudiger and Azpilicueta are such good options as well. I hadn't even thought of them. This whole blank game week has just messed up all of my plans for everyone that I wanted to get in my team. And now I'm going to have to prioritize now. And it's stressing me out. But going forward, I think I might have to, Chelsea's fixtures, you would bank on them keeping a clean sheet in most of them, the next 3 or whatever. So I'll be looking to maybe get in. I'm not getting in any of the wing backs because I have no idea who Thomas Tuchel's going to play. Absolutely zero. And we've also got our first leg of Porto after we play West Brom at home. Now, I don't know about you, but that game is a game where literally he could pick any players he has because, it wouldn't be a surprise to see most of the players rested or a lot of the players rested. So Azpilicueta seems to be the one that, is played the most minutes. He doesn't look like getting dropped. He does like to get down, sort of that, like as that sort of wide centre back. He does like to get forward as well. So yeah, I think that's also a tough one. There's too many decisions to make, and I'm not ready to even make one for this game week, let alone for the next 3.
That's why I just did it as soon as that Liverpool game was over. I was like, no, it's done. I'm not thinking about it. Maybe it's going to come and bite me, but I was like, I need to get rid of Salah. Now I have like £4+ in the bank, so I can kind of play around.
You've got like so much money. That's the only thing is that, I mean, I'll have like a good 2 mil in the bank if I don't take out Salah, but I don't know. I'm honestly the most indecisive person. I don't even know how I play this game. But it's just such a big game week. I think I'm going to end up having 9. One. So if I had 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. I think I'll end up having 9 players, which actually isn't that great. But there's just no one. There's just no one I want. You can't just be, unless you're using your free hit, you can't just be thinking about the game week because FPL doesn't work like that. And I just think there's no point in trying to make more subs to get in players for this game week that I'm then not going to want and not going to even want on my bench for the next game week. So I'm going to make 3 subs. I'm going to take out Calvert-Lewin for Kane, Son for, I'm thinking Odegaard or Trossard. That will literally be someone that I then put on my bench for however long, and then maybe getting out Luca Dean as well, and putting in someone like Stuart Dallas. But yeah, and then next week I'll probably get in one of Rudiger or Azpilicueta or Luke Shaw, just depending on what I'm doing. But will you have 11 players?
No, I think I have 8. Let me check. Hold on. I'm just checking.
And that's the
Okay.
thing, it's so hard.
Because I really didn't want that many. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So I have Martinez in goal, Dallas, Cresswell, Rafinha, Bale, Kane, Watkins, Bamford.
Yeah, I think I have Martinez, I have Soufal instead of Cresswell. I've got Veltman for Brighton. Then I'll probably end up having Lingard.
Good shout.
Lingard and one other midfielder, which I haven't thought about yet. And I'm probably not going to think about until I really have to.
You only have a couple of hours.
I'm just looking at my team. I'm actually looking. Yeah, I know. This is what's going to happen. Is I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I'll do it later, and I'll just be like, I'm going to Craven Cottage tonight for the Fulham Leeds game, and I know I'll get there and be like, oh my god, I've got about 2 minutes before the deadline. Yeah, I literally can see it coming a mile off. So I need to make sure after this, I just do my transfers, put in my captain, and that's it. Like, and just done.
So speaking of captain, who are you looking at? Because I right now my captain is Harry Kane, but they just got knocked out of the Europa League, which is just absolutely shocking. So they haven't even been playing that well. I thought that they were playing well, and then to get knocked out of Europa, I was just like completely shocked by. So now I question how well they're going to play. What do you think?
Just with Spurs, I think everyone got a little bit too carried away with them beating Crystal Palace and Burnley both at home. Now we know how Jose likes to set up in big games, and that is not beneficial to Kane, Son, or Bale whatsoever, as we saw in the North London derby. Kane at the moment is the only player I'm looking at and thinking, yeah, like this isn't a game week where you've got like loads of captain picks, I don't think, because hardly any of the players that everyone will have in their team are playing. Kane's the only one, really. If you want to go brave, you could look at someone like Patrick Bamford, who I think Marcelo Bielsa is one of the managers that you can actually believe, I think, when he says, he's probably going to play. He's obviously a good option. Fulham are obviously on the upswell, so that's quite a difficult one. I think at the moment, I think I haven't had Kane once this whole season, which I think pretty how I'm still top of my leagues without owning Harry Kane, and I think it's pretty impressive. But this, I think we got away with one when he, no one captained him against Crystal Palace because he had a poor game week the week before, and we got away with it massively because if everyone had captained him, I would be way down the leagues. And this is the game week where I think there's no one else that stands out to me. The obvious option is Harry Kane. And yeah, I think I'm just going to go. I've made a few risky captain decisions here, and I think I'll just play safe this week. And then next week will be the one where I start making a slightly riskier decisions with my captain picks. But I think for this game week, you can't take too many risks. What's the point?
I know. My problem is I always take risk and then it never pays off on my captain.
Who are you thinking?
I was just looking like Arsenal play West Ham. I'm thinking like maybe Cresswell, like if they can keep a clean sheet, but then I don't like Arsenal have been scoring, but they haven't been playing like amazingly. I have Kane as well.
Yeah.
I have Bamford. They play Fulham. That could be a good shout. Maybe Rafinha. But really, there's not that many.
That game was 4-3. No, there's not. That game was 4-3 last time. So when they met at Ellen Road earlier in the season, it was a 4-3. So there was goals, which makes me think that there will be goals tonight. But that I still don't have the balls to captain Patrick Bamford.
I just feel like if I captain Harry Kane, he's going to blank, and if I don't captain him, he's going to score a hat trick. So it's like
can't win.
I can't win, really. I really don't know. I'll get to some questions that people have. If you guys want any advice on your teams, let us know. It's really like a pretty closed game week. I feel there's not too much to analyze. But James says, I used my free hit for this week. Was it a mistake?
I don't think so. I think if you've still got your free hit now, that's probably the best and only real time to use it. Because they're not standout fixtures. They're not players you're going to want in your team every week. That's the trouble I'm having with making transfers, is that you're thinking ahead to the future. So you want players that you don't mind coming off your bench, whereas a free hit, do what you want, and you're going to have 11 players playing. You can pick any players you want because you know you'll go back to your preferred team next week. So I think the next game week. So no, I think playing free hit, if you still have it, which I don't, if I did, I would be playing it this game week. So I think you've made a right decision there. It's just who to pick. You still can't guarantee that, like, because there's no standout players, you can't guarantee who's going to return and who's not. Like, there's no real fixtures that you're like, oh, they're nailed on to win. Like Tottenham, Villa are in great form. Been great this season. Like Arsenal, West Ham arguably the better side. Brighton, Newcastle, you just don't know what you're going to get. So yeah, it's almost a lottery this week, trying to pick the players that you think are going to return.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it's either going to be an amazing game week for some people or just like absolutely terrible. It's going to be one or the other.
I think it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, I think it's going to be terrible. Well, I just want a good game week. Like, I feel like it's been so long since I've had a really good game week. And every week it was awesome.
There'll be a few game weeks coming up. Obviously, all those teams that are playing in the FA Cup this weekend. So you think of Man City, Everton, Chelsea. There'll be teams there that will have a double game week next. And, that's the only annoying thing about that is that, teams are in the latter stages of the Champions League, or gonna be, or could be, and managers love to rotate. So it's this period of the season is so hard to predict, and it's the most important part as well, not just for them, but just obviously for us in fantasy. So it's so difficult.
I just see myself going down further and further in the ranks, and it's so depressing.
Oh God, no.
So Sam asks, is it worth transferring Kane for Bamford? Which is interesting. Leeds have a comfortable set of games, so maybe Roberts or Rodrigo may be a cheeky pick.
So he's going Kane out for and Bamford in.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it for this game week personally.
I think it's it depends. So many people own Kane that then it's like a double whammy if you then don't own him altogether. Obviously, if you don't captain him but you have him, it's obviously different. Bamford is a great option. I don't know who your other strikers are, Sam, but could you not look to transfer maybe someone else out for Patrick Bamford? He's quite cheap. I think I've got him here. He is only 6.7 million. So you won't have many other strikers that will be. There's not many options really of strikers that expensive. Obviously, Kane's the only one that's really up there. So I maybe look to transfer someone out for. But if you want Bamford, they have got the games. Usually they score goals. I have him, and I'm not going to get rid of him. But he's so frustrating to own. Just prepare yourself, Sam, because he should score loads more than he does. He has so many chances. But they've got a fixture this game week. They've got good fixtures coming up. So maybe look to get Bamford in, or someone like I wouldn't go Tyler Roberts. I know he's been playing more, but I would go with someone like Rafinha or Jack Harrison. Rodrigo, I'm not sure about as well. Obviously, came on, then got subbed off, so you can't guarantee he's going to start. So yeah, I would, if you want to get Bamford in, maybe look to transfer out another one of your strikers rather than Harry Kane.
Yeah, really, really good advice. I'm laughing because Jam goes, have I missed the UCL chat? I'm still gassed and need to hear it from you too. You missed it, Jam. I'm really sorry. That was the first.
You missed it.
You have to watch it on replay. I just going through to see any other comments. Glenn asks, which team are you focusing on the most this week? Surely Arsenal. I don't have any Arsenal players in my team.
I don't. Do you know what? I was thinking of getting in someone like Kieran Tierney, but then I was just like, going forward, I don't think I want an Arsenal defender in my team. Like, I was actually thinking Odegaard, one of those, for like, it'll either be him or Trossard I'll probably go for. But then again, he won't be one of my players going forward. Like, he'll be on my bench, he'll be a bench player. I can't even, you can't even justify putting a Aubameyang in your team, like, after the whole North London derby thing, but also he's been so on and off. Like, obviously, he sort of refound his form, and then he's lost it, and it's not worth spending 11 million on someone like that. So, I'm sorry, Glenn, I'm not going Arsenal, but I think Glenn comes on my show, actually, my fan zone show. And Glenn, I'm sure you'll be back on to talk Arsenal. Me and Clinton will be talking Arsenal at some point soon. But as for fantasy, he's not in any of our teams. No one's in any of our teams.
That's so funny. I just see you said you only have 5 players playing, and then you ask if you should use your free hit. So I recommend if you only have 5 players, then it could be a good time to use your free hit. Like Liv said, there might not be a better time to use it. So if you only have 5 players, maybe consider doing it. But I don't know. Like we said, it's kind of difficult because none of the fixtures are really that amazing. So you could save it, but it's a weird one.
You just don't know as well.
Yeah,
like you just don't know. No one can predict when fixtures are going to be moved to, and like what teams are going to get through in the FA Cup, and but I don't think there'll be as big of obviously there won't be as big of a game week because there's going to be less teams that go through. So I don't think there will be a smaller game week than this one. So I think it's a good time to use your free hit. Whereas Sheffield United, no one will have Sheffield United players in their team, but like one of them, Man City and Everton, only one of them's going through, which means one of them will then have a fixture that the other one. So I don't think there'll be as big a blank game as this one. So yeah, like I said earlier, I think it's a good time to use it. And if I have my free hit, I would be using it.
Yeah, same. I used mine really stupidly without having any strategy at all at the beginning of this season. James says, I'm on a free hit deciding between 2 of these 3 strikers, Watkins, Antonio, and Bamford. Which 2 do I pick?
I got Watkins and Bamford. And the only reason I don't have it, I had Antonio earlier on in the season, but he got injured, didn't he? And then I obviously went with Lingard, and I don't really want to double up on like West Ham attackers. Yeah, just because and also like looking at my 3, I'm sticking with Watkins because I think when Grealish gets back, I like Watkins as well. Bamford, like we said, he's frustrating to own, but he does score goals and he gets chances and he's on penalties. That's also a bonus. Like I said, tonight it could be a high scoring game like it was at Ellen Road. To me, obviously I have in my team Watkins. I have Watkins and Bamford. They're the 2 that I have. So I would go them, but Antonio is also a great shout. You know that West Ham are going to cause Arsenal problems. That's no help whatsoever. I'm sitting on the fence. I'm really sorry, but I have Watkins and Bamford, if that is any help.
Yeah, and so do I. So I think that would be a good shout. I don't think Antonio is scoring as much as he was as well. And I think that Watkins and Bamford have more of a favorable fixture because Arsenal, it could really go either way. I feel like they either could win. I do think West Ham are the better team right now, and they should probably win that game, but you just don't know which way it's going to go. It could be really tricky. Arthik asks, would it be ideal to transfer Giroud in since we're playing a lot of low black sides and Tuchel prefers Giroud against low black sides? Giroud hasn't been playing really. Like Tuchel hasn't kept the same starting 11, and I just find it really, really risky to do this because Giroud hasn't played really since the first leg of the Champions League, and it seems that they're favoring the likes of Havertz and Werner, and even then we don't know really who's going to start up the attackers. I'd probably stay away from really any Chelsea attackers right now until we get more of an idea about who he's thinking of starting, because right now I feel like it changes every game. What do you think, Liv?
Yeah, I think with Giroud, at this point in the season going forward, you want players that are nailed on to start. You don't want to have players where you're like, oh, are they going to start or not? Because that's just not going to work. And I think whilst there aren't that many forwards in the game, you don't have many to pick from. A lot of the big players are midfielders. So I wouldn't do that as much as I would, I would back Olivier Giroud to, play against those sides and probably score against those sides because that's what he does. You just don't know, like Ellie said, you don't know what Thomas Tuchel is going to do at this point in the season. It's not worth picking players that aren't nailed on for me. I wouldn't be going for players that, aren't guaranteed to start. And Tuchel loves to, rotate like Pep. So it's just, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Surgeon says, I have a feeling that Werner will score 3 in his next Premier League game. I've had him since the beginning of the season, which is really impressive because I gave up on him after like 4 weeks. That's commitment, honestly.
I had him. Honestly, I had him. The Southampton game was one of when he scored 2, and I was buzzing because I captained him, and I was like, oh yeah, like. And then I was like, no, like my Chelsea heart wants to keep him in, but listen, I'm very competitive, and the people I'm coming up against in my little mini leagues, I have to beat or want to beat. So I have to actually think with a football brain rather than just a Chelsea brain. But that is impressive that you've had Werner since the start, and I really hope you're right that he does score 3. I think he's been like harshly criticised this season. Like he's been involved in the most goals for Chelsea out of anyone. He hasn't just been scoring. He scored 10 goals. That's pretty good. I would expect him to score more, but I think next season he'll be fine. And he's been assisting as well. He's been helping the side. And if your striker wasn't doing anything, you'd be worried. But I'm so surprised that you kept him. Fair play to keeping him. I really hope he does well for you and of course for Chelsea. But like you say, with Thomas Tuchel, you just don't know what he's going to do. So I would advise not having Werner. But fair play, and I hope that you were right and he does score a hat trick. Even against Sheffield United, like I'd take that. Obviously, that would mean nothing for you because you wouldn't get any points. But yeah, it's fair for sticking with him, and I hope you're right.
I hope so as well. I feel like you said, Timo has actually been playing pretty well. I do think he needs to be scoring more goals, but he's been assisting quite a few, sometimes win some penalties. Like I think he's looked pretty good. And I think just sometimes he's like a little bit frustrating in the final third that like sometimes I wish that he would pick out a different pass or like have a shot be more powerful or something like that. But I feel like it's coming for him. It's not clicked just yet, but it's going to, especially with him and Havertz. I feel like they have this like really good chemistry. I think Havertz could potentially be a pretty good differential pick, but he definitely hasn't started enough games for me to feel confident enough saying that or to bring him into my team. But he's looked pretty good as well. So I don't know. Right now, Chelsea attackers I'm staying away from. Just don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to be, to staying away from them. But yeah, like I say, I think it'd be interesting to see where Havertz, if he plays as a 9 for the rest of the season. Are we going to see Havertz in FPL next season as a forward rather than a midfielder? Like Timo Werner's probably going to stay as a forward, but I think Werner especially will be a good option next season, and I think I will have him in my team for the first game of next season. Obviously, presuming he's not injured or anything. I have no doubts that Werner's going to come good. Like he was one player at the start that I thought would have the biggest impact at Chelsea out of the new signings. Obviously, that is Thiago Silva by a country mile, but goal contributions, he's the most of any Chelsea player. So I think he's done okay. Obviously, we expected a little bit more, but like it's his first season in England. It's been a really challenging time for anyone that's come over and is playing in a new league. But yeah, I think for next season, Chelsea attackers could be really, really good FPL assets. But like Ellie said, so this season, we're just going to stay away.
Yeah, exactly. Until Chelsea start getting their scoring boots on more, I'm just a little bit hesitant about bringing anybody into this side. But yeah, we've been talking for quite a while already. I think that we could keep talking forever about FPL and choices and Champions League and more. But I don't want to take out too much more time. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We have this series every single Friday, which is really fun. And we just chat football and FPL. And yeah, I really enjoy it. So Liv, thanks again. Any closing thoughts? Anything? You're more of a co-host, so I don't want to make it seem like you're a guest anymore, but
well, I didn't hear you there, Ellie.
I said you're more of a co-host, so I don't want to make it seem like you're a guest anymore. But if you have any closing things that you want to say, go for it.
Well, like everyone, I think I'm struggling with this game week. I'm not preparing for a big game week. But like I say, make decisions on your team based on the rest of the season, not just this game week, unless you're, of course, free hitting. I'm in the club where I think I'm going to have a rubbish game week, but I think I'm going to make a few transfers, captain Harry Kane, and go again next week.
Yeah, exactly. That's the motto, guys. So we've really hyped you up for this game week, and yeah. So yeah. I can't keep a straight face now. So thanks guys so much for watching. If you like the video, don't forget to drop it a like and subscribe to our channel. And yeah, okay. I'm like just babbling now. So until next time, I'm out.